6th century BC, 600 BC to 501 BC, an important century in human history. The 6th century BC, often referred to as the 6th century BCE, before Common Era, 600 BC to 501 BC, was a crucial period in human history, marked by significant developments in various regions and domains. It was a time of great change and innovations. Many of the developments that took place during this century have had a lasting impact on our world. During this century, there were significant advances in agriculture, technology, and the arts. It was a century of the rise of the Achaemenid Empire in Persia, which became the largest empire the world had seen up to that point. The development of the Ionian alphabet in Greece, which eventually led to the development of the Latin alphabet and many other modern alphabets. The construction of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The 6th century BC witnessed the emergence of several influential philosophers and thinkers from various regions and cultures. These thinkers laid the foundations for philosophical traditions that would continue to evolve and shape human thought for centuries. In this video, we will only focus on the philosophical development in the 6th century. What is philosophy? First, let's understand what is a philosophy. Philosophy is a broad and fundamental field of inquiry that seeks to explore and understand the fundamental nature of reality, existence, knowledge, ethics, and the nature of thought itself. It addresses questions about the nature of reality, the meaning of life, the existence of knowledge, the principles of morality, reasoning, and much more. Philosophy is divided into several subfields: metaphysics, the study of the nature of reality, the existence of God, the soul, and free will; epistemology, the study of knowledge, including its nature, scope, and limits; ethics, the study of morality, what is good and bad, right and wrong; logic, the study of reasoning, including how to identify and avoid logical misconceptions. Philosophy doesn't always provide definitive answers, but instead offers various perspectives, encourages critical thinking, and supports intellectual curiosity. Philosopher in the 6th century BC. Greek philosopher. Thales of Miletus, born around 624 BCE, was a pre-Socratic philosopher and one of the earliest known thinkers in ancient Greece. From the Ionian city of Miletus, celebrated as the founder of Western philosophy, Thales was a polymath, known for his keen observations of the natural world and his groundbreaking contributions to various fields, including geometry, astronomy, and philosophy. Thales believed that everything in the universe is made of water, or comes from water, believed that the Earth was a flat disk that floated on a vast sea. Thales of Miletus was also an astute mathematician, reputed for his ability to predict astronomical events such as eclipses. Solon of Athens. Solon of Athens, born around 638 BCE, stands as one of the most influential figures in ancient Greek history and is often regarded as one of the 7 sages of Greece. He was a statesman, poet, and lawmaker whose leadership brought about significant political and societal reforms in Athens during the 6th century BCE. Solon's most notable achievement was the institution of a series of constitutional and legal reforms known as the Solonian Reforms. These reforms aim to address social and economic inequalities, offering a path to greater political participation for all citizens, regardless of their wealth. Pythagoras of Samos. Pythagoras, a Greek philosopher and mathematician who lived around 570 to 495 BCE, is renowned for his profound contributions to both mathematics and philosophy. He is best known for the Pythagorean theorem, a fundamental principle in geometry that describes the relationship between the sides of a right triangle. Pythagoras founded a philosophical and religious movement known as Pythagoreanism. This school of thought emphasized the importance of numbers and their mystical significance in understanding the universe. Pythagoras was also interested in music and astronomy. He is credited with discovering that the musical intervals of the octave, fifth, and fourth are related to the simple ratios of 1 to 2, 3 to 2, and 4 to 3, 3. He also believed that the planets moved in perfect harmony, which he called the music of the spheres. Xenophanes of Colophon, a philosopher and poet who lived in ancient Greece from around 570 to 475 BCE, is recognized as a pioneering figure in early Greek philosophy, known for his critical thinking and skepticism. Xenophanes challenged the prevailing anthropomorphic views of the gods, asserting that if horses and oxen had gods, they would depict them in equine or bovine forms. This perspective marked a departure from the anthropocentric beliefs of his time. Indian philosopher. The 6th century BCE was a crucial period in the development of Indian philosophy, marked by the emergence of several major philosophical schools and thinkers who laid the foundations for India's rich and diverse philosophical traditions. Ajit Keshkambali. Ajit Keshkambali was an ancient Indian philosopher who lived during the time of Gautam Buddha, around the 6th century BCE. He was a prominent figure in the heterodox ascetic traditions of ancient India. Ajit Keshkambali was known for his materialistic and atheistic philosophy, which rejected the existence of a permanent soul or an afterlife. He argued that consciousness arises from the physical elements of the body, and with the dissolution of the body, consciousness also ceases to exist. This worldview stood in contrast to the prevailing religious and metaphysical beliefs of his time. Sanjay Belatiput. Sanjay Belatiput was an Indian ascetic philosopher who lived around the 7th to 6th century BCE in the region of Magadh. He was a proponent of the Agyan school of thought. Sanjay Belatiput argued that it is impossible to know for sure whether or not anything exists, or whether or not there is an afterlife, whether or not the gods exist, or whether or not there is a moral law. He also argued that the senses are often mistaken, and that we cannot rely on them to give us accurate information about the world. He believed that language is often used in a confusing or misleading way, and that it is difficult to use language to communicate accurate information. He also believed that the world is constantly changing, and that it is impossible to make accurate statements about something that is constantly changing. Gautam Buddha. Gautam Buddha was an enlightened spiritual teacher and the founder of Buddhism, one of the world's major religions. He lived in ancient India during the 6th century BCE and is revered for his profound insights into the nature of human suffering and the path to spiritual liberation. Born as Siddhartha Gautam into a royal family in Lumbini, he renounced his privileged life to seek answers to the fundamental questions of existence. After years of meditation and introspection, he attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, realizing the Four Noble Truths. Suffering is the inherent condition of human life. The cause of suffering is attachment and craving. The end of suffering is possible. The path to the end of suffering is the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path is a set of 8 practices that lead to enlightenment: right understanding or view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right samadhi, unification of mind. The Buddha's teachings emphasized compassion, mindfulness, and the cultivation of wisdom, leading to a state of nirvana, a transcendent state of peace and liberation from suffering. Mahagosal. Mahagosal, a contemporary of Gautam Buddha in ancient India, was a prominent figure in the religious and philosophical landscape of his time. He is best known for being one of the founders of the Ajivika school of thought, which promoted a deterministic worldview. Mahagosal believed that everything that happens in the world is predetermined by fate. There is no free will, and we cannot change our destiny. Goshala's teachings found a following during his era, but eventually declined, as they stood in contrast to the ethical and moral principles by other philosophers. Despite the limited historical influence of his school, Mahagosal remains an interesting figure in the tapestry of ancient Indian philosophy, representing a unique and radical viewpoint within the rich intellectual traditions of his time. Purankashyap. Purankashyap was an Indian ascetic teacher who lived in the 6th century BCE. Kashyap taught that all actions, whether good or bad, are ultimately meaningless. He argued that there is no such thing as a law of cause and effect that determines our future. Kashyap taught that there is no such thing as an individual self. He believed that the world is an illusion, and that there is only a single underlying reality. He argued that the world is not real, but is a product of our own minds. Mahavir, also known as Vardhaman, was a pivotal spiritual leader and the founder of Jainism, an ancient Indian religion known for its emphasis on nonviolence, ahimsa, truth, and asceticism. Born in the 6th century BCE in what is now modern-day Bihar, India, Mahavir renounced his princely life at the age of 30 to seek spiritual truth through intense meditation and self-discipline. After years of rigorous ascetic practices, he attained enlightenment and spent the rest of his life as a wandering monk, teaching his philosophy and principles. Mahavir's 5 common teachings are ahimsa, non-violence or non-injury; satya, truthfulness; asteya, non-stealing; brahmacharya, chastity; aparigraha, non-attachment. Karnad, also known as Kashyap Karnad, was an ancient Indian philosopher and scholar who lived around the 6th century BCE. His traditional name, Karnad, means atom eater, and he is known for developing the foundations of an atomistic approach to physics and philosophy in the Sanskrit text Vaisheshik Sutra. He is primarily known for his foundational contributions to the field of atomic theory in Indian philosophy. Karnad's philosophy posited that everything in the universe is composed of indivisible particles called anu, which are the building blocks of matter. His atomic theory predated similar ideas in the Western world by many centuries. Karnad was among the sages of India who believed in man's potential to understand existence and reach moksha on his own, without God. Chinese philosopher Confucius, 551 to 479 BCE, was an ancient Chinese philosopher and teacher. He is considered to be the founder of Confucianism, one of the most influential schools of thought in Chinese history. Confucius was born into a poor family in the state of Lu. He received a classical education and became a government official. However, he was disillusioned with the political corruption of his time, and he resigned from his position and devoted himself to teaching. Confucius taught a wide range of subjects, including ethics, politics, social relationships, and personal cultivation. Laozi, also known as Lao Tzu, was an ancient Chinese philosopher and the legendary founder of Taoism, one of the major schools of thought in Chinese philosophy. He is believed to have been born in the state of Chu, in what is now eastern China. Laozi is known for his book, the Tao Te Ching, which is one of the most important texts in Chinese philosophy. His most famous work, the Tao Te Ching, is a foundational text of Taoism and offers profound insights into the nature of the Tao, advocating simplicity, humility, and a deep connection to nature as a path to wisdom and inner peace. Laozi's teachings emphasize the idea of wu wei, or effortless action, which encourages individuals to follow the natural course of things and not force outcomes. Yan Ying, also known as Yanzi or Master Yan, was an ancient Chinese statesman, philosopher, and advisor who lived during the Warring States period, 5th to 3rd centuries BCE. He served as a prominent official in the state of Qi and was known for his practical and administrative abilities. Yanzi has been described as, by far, the most creative thinker of the Chunqiu age. He is traditionally credited with the Warring States Annal Yanzi Chunqiu, the Annals of Master Yan. These are just a few examples of the significant developments and figures from the 6th century BC. It was a time of intellectual and spiritual awakening, and many of the ideas and traditions that emerged during this period continue to shape the world today.